Hi people, it's me Anja. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new recent released video. The first book on this list is called Music from Another World, written by Robin Talley. This book is a YA historical fiction story about a pair of pen pals who get really involved in the gay rights movement in California in the 1970s. I really enjoyed this book. It was absolutely so good. The sapphic relationship between these two characters felt so real and well developed, and the characters themselves felt very three-dimensional and just so real, and the setting was like so cool, and the plot was so intriguing. You know what I mean? After reading Last Night in the Telegraph Club and really enjoying it, I've always wanted to read more sapphic historical fiction stories. So when I picked up this one, I was kind of skeptical that it wouldn't live up to its hype, but it absolutely did. This book is so good. Robin Talley is so good at writing and crafting her world and crafting these characters, and this book is absolutely so good, and I really enjoyed it, and I ended up rating it 4 stars. So with that, I highly recommend it because this book is absolutely so good. The next book on this list is called Cathedral of Bones. This story is YA fantasy and follows a young boy who's determined to prove his worth. So he goes on an epic quest that's a key to his past and a pathway to an unbelievable future. This book was so good. The world building is just so vibrant and so vivid. The setting was so well developed. The characters were so well developed as well. The plot is like so intriguing. This book is so underrated, and for what? Because it's absolutely so good. I really enjoyed the plot, the characters, the world building. This book is so much better than I expected it to be. I had really low expectations because of the lack of hype that it received. You know what I mean? So I will say that this book definitely deserves more hype than it has received. You know? So essentially the story is so underrated and so underhyped, and for what? Because it's absolutely so good, and I ended up rating it 4 stars. So with that, I highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Amelia Unabridged. This story is YA contemporary and it follows Amelia as she grapples with love, grief, and the future. This book is absolutely so good. I just fell in love with the writing, the story, the plot, the characters, the world building. The story is so well done. The writing kind of reminded me of like Breathless or Worlds in Deep Blue. You know what I mean? Particularly Worlds in Deep Blue because of the bookstore setting. You know what I mean? This book is so good. I absolutely really enjoyed it. The writing just hooked me in immediately, and the romance and the characters were so well developed that it just added so much like substance and nuance to the story. You know what I mean? I feel like I can't really say that this book is so underrated, and for what? Because it's such a new release. I think it came out like 2 weeks ago, or maybe last week. But anyway, this book is so good. It's absolutely so good, and I just really enjoyed it. So with that, I would highly recommend it because this is another story that I rated 4 stars because it's just absolutely so good. And essentially, if you enjoyed Worlds in Deep Blue, I would highly recommend this story because it's absolutely so good. So yeah. The next book on this list is called The Abyss Surrounds Us. This story is YA fantasy and follows a young girl who's very accustomed to fighting pirates until she's kidnapped by them, so now she has to get used to living with them. This book was good. I enjoyed the action-packed, fast-paced plot. I enjoyed the world building. The sapphic romance was well developed and well done. However, I found myself preferring Bonds of Glass. If you didn't know, this author wrote Bonds of Glass, which I really enjoyed last year, and I think because of that, for this book, I had my expectations a little bit too high. So even though I did really enjoy this book, I'm not eagerly anticipating the sequel, and honestly, I'm not going to read the sequel. However, with Bonds of Glass, I am eagerly anticipating those 2 sequels. You know what I mean? So overall, this book was good and it was solid, and I definitely think that it deserves more hype, but I don't think it deserves as much hype as Bonds of Glass. You know what I mean? Like, this author's writing definitely improved, you know? So overall, I gave this book 3.5 stars. So yeah. The next book on this list is called Of Silver and Shadow. This story is YA fantasy, and I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. And it follows 4 characters who all get sucked into the same rebellion because they all have different reasons for being there. I really enjoy it when a story has multiple perspectives, but all the characters are connected by the same common ground. You know what I mean? I enjoy the story because I enjoy the world building, I enjoy the action-packed, fast-paced plot. The romances were well developed. There's a sapphic romance, there's an enemies to lovers romance. The characters were well developed as well. I really enjoyed seeing their interactions and like looking forward to seeing their interactions. You know what I mean? The plot was very intriguing, like I said. The world building was well established and well done. However, I found myself being more invested and intrigued by the storyline in the second half of the story than the first half. You know, like during the first half of the story, I was enjoying it. I was just enjoying the story much more by the second half of the story than the first half. And I don't really know why, honestly, but overall the story was well done. I do recommend it, and I think that it's really rather underrated. So yeah, with that, like I said, I gave the story 3.5 stars. The next book on this list is called Pho Love Story. This story is YA contemporary and it follows two Vietnamese American teenagers whose parents own rivaling restaurant businesses, so they are forbidden from becoming friends, much less becoming boyfriend and girlfriend. This book was solid and it was good. I really enjoyed the Vietnamese culture and representation sprinkled throughout the story. You can really tell that this Vietnamese culture comes from the author's own culture. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if the story was marketed as an own voices story, but you can really tell that it is one. You know what I mean? Like, that part of the story was probably my favorite because it felt so real and like 3-dimensional, if that makes any sense. Like, this book was really solid in that aspect. The romance as well was also really solid and well developed, and the two characters were also well developed. So yeah, we love to see it. The romance was so lovely and wholesome and cute and fluffy, and the only things that's like preventing me from rating this book any higher than 3.5 stars is that I felt like the ending was like wrapped up a little bit too fast. You know what I mean? But like other than that, the story was solid and it was cute, and it was just a nice, solid, fluffy YA contemporary story that I ended up rating 3.5 stars. So yeah. So, in conclusion, the books that I enjoyed the most on this list were definitely Music from Another World and Amelia Unabridged. The book that I enjoyed the least on this list was definitely The Abyss Surrounds Us. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below why you enjoyed this video. If you've read any of these books, tell me what you think of them. And if you made it this far in this video, comment down below the blue heart emoji so that I know that you made it all the way to the end of the video. So yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!